for you to plug in. Hi, folks. Dan Girolamo, Big Boomer here from sunny San Diego. I know some of you are in the cold belt. I'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks. In any case, listen. You were invited here because somebody thought enough of you to share an important message to you that can change everything you know about making decisions, whether you have enough time or money. But just as you were watching this on a computer, if you want that computer to do something it couldn't do before, what do you got to do to it? You need to reprogram it. And so you've been given a computer between your ears far more sophisticated than anything man will create. What you do with that and how that's programmed regulates everything and all your decision and action processes from it. I'm the common sense knucklehead. That's my role. The Karatbars poster child for the common sense knucklehead. I was a repo man for 27 years in Southern California, licensed and bonded. So you can imagine that I have seen a few things that most people haven't seen. So my perceptions are a little unique. And when we share our perceptions, the most difficult thing to do is to pass one idea from one person to another and not be misunderstood. Just ask anyone who's been married. Even though you were sure about what you were trying to convey to that person, they didn't receive it in the same way, okay? So tonight, if I seem redundant, it is because I aim not to be misunderstood. I'm going to give you the correct program in today's society, the times we live in, that will allow you to do some things that you couldn't do before. This, folks, is the root of the problems we see. This, if you work for this, you work for man's debt money. And no matter how much debt money you pay in order to pay on more debt, you cannot solve any problems in society until you fix the very thing that you use to try and fix those things, and that is the money. Recognizing the problem is the beginning of the real solution. What you see here is the exclusive world's reserve currency until it isn't anymore. Okay? Now, whatever happens, here's program update number 1. Whatever happens to the dollar happens to everything you have kept in dollars. Program update number 2. Did you know you cannot outwork in exponential inflation with a linear income? You can't do it anymore. You used to be able to, but not anymore. And this is the reason why. This is the buying power of the dollar. Okay, this is what's happened to it. This is the current life package you've been taught to. What does that structure look like? That's the structure of the government, the structure of corporations, the structure of unions. It's the structure of the school system. And you have been taught. And it worked real good, as you saw in the video. It worked real good for a long time until the dollar was decoupled from gold in 1971. This dollar bill was worth 1.5 grams of gold. Did you know that? That's how they got you to take paper money. This here is a $100 gold certificate from 1928. That's real. It was worth 150 grams of gold, 5 ounces of gold. And by 15 years after printing these, it had already lost 20% of its power. So that $100 gold certificate, if it was frozen in time, would be worth $5,550 of buying power in today's world. Now, this is the buying power of the dollar. This is the buying power of the dollar after World War I and World War II. This is the buying power of the dollar after the Korean War. This is the buying power of the dollar after the Vietnam War. It's also when we got decoupled from gold and the printing of money began that was backed by nothing but a politician's, banker's, government's promise it was good to pay the taxes. This is the buying power of the dollar after Desert Storm and the Cold War, and this is the buying power of the dollar after the Afghan War, which is still going on. This is the buying power of the dollar. That's all that's left of it after the Iraq War. And folks, it is never coming back. And so you have been programmed in a way. And 2 generations ago, we remember the older people here, the wiser people. They remember that 2 generations ago, the word saving used to mean storing generational wealth, money that was backed by gold. But when we got decoupled from gold, dollar became decoupled from gold. That was the death dagger to the advice to go to school, get a good education, learn a trade, work real hard, and you would be able to keep up with inflation with a tool to meet the needs of the economy called a job. And since that point on, the media completely programmed your brain until in 2 generations, everyone forgot. Now word savings meant spending at a discount, affording your lifestyle. And we went from the greatest nation on earth, loaning billions to other nations, to become the greatest debtor nation on earth that is in trouble. Now, that's the secret trap. We went from a 1 household income to a 2 household income, near 3 household income, kids in home till they're 25 and 26, and now the fast food worker union wants $15 an hour to flip burgers. Folks, this is what's happened to the buying power. You have to understand that paper money was just a substitute for gold money. And as history goes, it will repeat itself in return. 40 years ago, a gram of gold. This is a Karatbar. Somebody brought you on to see this Karatbar. That's 1 gram of transaction-friendly weight of pure 999.9 gold bullion surrounded in a certificate of authenticity with holograms and other features on it which make it unique. And 40 years ago, a gram of gold would be bought you 5 loaves of bread, and $1 would have bought you 4 loaves. But after 40 years of the government printing money that wasn't backed by anything but a promise, a gram of gold will buy you 20 loaves, and $1 will buy you a half a loaf. Folks, reality check. That is the difference between gold money and paper money, and if the past is going to predict the future. Well, the value of your labor, you get paid in this, that is just a representation of the value of your labor. Will it be preserved in this or not? So the real question is, if this made sense to you, gold money. How do you get the most, best quality gold money for the least amount of time, effort, and personal finances? There's only 4 ways you're going to acquire gold. Number 1, you can inherit it. What in my future? Is it in yours? Number 2, you can extract it. Mining and panning, very popular micro industry. Some people in the world survive by panning for flecks of gold. I don't know if any of you have tried that, but I'm going to tell you right now, that ain't in my future. Number 3, the most common sense, buy it out of your own pocket. In which case, the only leverage you have is to try and buy it the lowest or the cheapest with this to get more of it, correct? Well, we're going to show you the option number 4. And if the light bulb goes on, do not hesitate. We're going to show you how to set up a Karatbars dual system. Do the 12-week plan. Acquire it from the system, not from your pocket. In the times we live in today, you're going to need both cash flow, and you are going to need gold money. Okay? You're going to need it for the times when the paper money continues to erode. Now, in terms of the dollar, let's talk about that. If I want to lose weight, what's the first thing I got to do? Probably not eat as much, right? And eat the right things. But obviously, how am I going to measure that? You need to get a scale. So let's put the dollar on a scale, okay? And let's see where we're at. The dollar right now, the government, the United States government, the largest economic engine on the planet, is $14.4 billion of brand new debt just on the interest on the national debt, not even the national debt. And the unfunded mandatory programs, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and unemployment, every single day, $14.4 billion. And there's 10,000 new retirees coming onto that system of the mandatory programs each day that weren't there the day before. And with all good intentions, there were 43 people paying into that system for every 1 person that was going onto that system. But today, there's only 3 people paying in for each one. Now, here's the bad part. After you get done paying the interest on the national debt, which you have to pay, and after you get done paying on all the unfunded mandatory programs, which you have to pay, there isn't one single dollar left over to pay for any government office or department, not a government employee, not a government pension, and not $1 for the military. They borrow every single dollar to operate. And with all good intentions before, Now they tax $5 to figure out what to do to administer one. I don't have to be a rocket science, and you don't either, to understand where that is going. In the times we are in today, how do you save money? Program update. You have to make sure it is not made out of paper. It's very simple. Now, so who's going to pay you to do this? Mr. Harold Seitz, founder, CEO, and visionary of Karatbars International, a man who had a vision to take this to the world, where anybody in many countries can acquire it, and to create a global infrastructure network to allow you the opportunity to create an income globally, regardless of where you're at, regardless of your age, regardless of your education status, regardless of your income level, regardless of your language, regardless of whether you have a nice car or you don't have a car at all, regardless of whether you have your house that has a wood floors, tile floors, marble floors, or dirt floors. If you have a desire and the determination, you can create a global income with all of that, and Harold has done this all to help all of us. And for that man's vision and his standards of excellence, I applaud him. Now, we are an e-commerce company with a fully funded infrastructure. All the things you see on this page are all funded in the umbrella, so you don't have to pay for it. The only thing you have to do is do what you always do. You always tell somebody about something you like or you don't like. So it isn't something that you don't already do anyways. Why don't you get paid for it? And this is all funded by the corporate infrastructure for you. So who is Karatbars in a nutshell? Number one, it's headquartered in Stuttgart, Germany. It's a privately held company, has no debt, and Harold does not do anything to put our company in risk at all like that. We are regulated by strict German law like that. Germany is the toughest country to do business with in the European Union. They're the second largest holder of gold in the world. And they have a check and balance on us where we have met or exceeded their standards for 4 years now. Now, I'm a common sense knucklehead. On top of that, we are recommended by Bundesspar, an independent consumer watchdog organization. Part of this key umbrella that you don't have to pay for, Prosegur. Third largest cybersecurity and digital logistics company in the world, 150,000 professionals worldwide, member of the prestigious World Gold Council. Google them. Now, Harold says it's one thing to have gold. It's another thing, what do you do when you have it? He has brokered a deal for every customer and affiliate that wants to store gold can in these vaults with these are private vaults. Okay, not in the banking system that can get shut down. Dignitaries store things there. And so he provided this, so if you choose to, you can vault your gold for free, built into the entire structure of our plan. If you don't want to do that, you can have it vaulted in Switzerland or Singapore for a low contract fee or delivered to the vault of your choice, or if you just want it in your hand. We don't make anybody do anything. We're a totally optional company. You can get it put into the production queue and delivered by Federal Express into your hands in short. Another key strategic alliance partner, G4S, the largest armored delivery service in the world. You see their insignia in every single international airport. They provided the security for the World Olympics, and they deliver all of our orders over $10,000. Now, 10,000 euros, excuse me. Now, what is it that we have? Folks, this is man's debt money. This, folks, right here is God's money. It's always equal to the task it takes to extract it. You can't cheat it. It's been the money of kings for 6,000 years. Now, what is currency-grade gold? It's a very specific asset class of gold. There's many different kinds of gold. Currency-grade gold has commonalities, 999.9 in purity, stamped by an LBMA certified refinery on the London Good Delivery List. There's only 63 refineries that make that. Now, that is the only kind of gold that's recognized by all banks and governments as good for settlement of debt. And that is why we do not do coins. We don't do silver. We only deal in a very specific kind of gold that's recognized as real money worldwide, and that falls under a very unique set of laws internationally. It's always been kept in large bars that few can afford, and now we make it in small bars that anyone can afford. Now here's your program update. Karatbars are gold as money and inflation insurance. We are not gold as a commodity, not for speculative thinking, not for speculative investment, not a program for a trader mentality. That's not what we do. We're gold as money in a preserving manner. Here's the proposed future currency grade gold. Where did I get this? I got this from an article from the FDIC. What are they telling you here? They're telling you that gold is going to prop up everything that you see. You know, I don't care about what happens on TV and watch all that stuff. Here's what I know. I watch. I use Harold. He says, show me. I'm watching what's going on. I'm watching the central banks and governments buying currency grade gold at record levels. And they're keeping it low till they can acquire enough of it. And if it's good enough for banks and governments, isn't it good enough for your own money? Think about it for a minute. Common sense. Our package. Here's their package. 2, 4, 8 years of your life. 10, 20, 50, 100,000 or $200,000 to get a piece of paper to work in a structure that has limitations, that only pays you enough as it takes you to replace you. Here's our structure. I don't care what you do to make a living. I don't care if you got a shovel in your hand or a stethoscope around your neck. Bolt this on. Here's our program. 12 weeks. You start here. Everybody starts at the same place. You get to choose how much money you make. You get to choose when you pay yourself a raise. And in 12 weeks, you can take 30 years of a working life and shorten it down there. But it would be common sense that you would have to give your best effort and attention to it in order to make. Doesn't that make sense? So I'm not going to tell you it's something, so just join it. You need to focus on your attention and do 2 simple tasks that we're going to show you in broad perspective. And if you focus that and you connect with others that resonates with, you're going to set yourself free in a matter of very short time, be able to make decisions, regardless of time and money. Now, here's our disclaimer. Income projections shown are in U.S. dollars. The action plan uses mathematical examples. How else are we going to show it? Right? That are dependent on following the plan as described. But what would you follow that plan for? Would you give it your A game? Okay? Incomes are not guaranteed due to the fact we cannot guarantee your efforts or efforts of your team. Results can vary based on the activity of your team. That's the good part. How many of you think you work as hard or harder than the next guy at work? That type of attitude that made you good at whatever you are, you're going to excel at this. And you're finally going to be rewarded based on that part. And the other part of that is this. If you know people that work like that, this is a cakewalk to join. Everything you see here that you're going to see is based on the 4 pillars of truth. Timeless truths, not trendy, timeless. Every economy and creating wealth is based on these 4 principles. Number 1 is the movement of money. 2 is the velocity, how fast it moves. 3, you have to move money toward you with a system. And number 4, you have to pay yourself first. Then you always have something. The movement of money is the key. When people get paid and they spend money and they use ATM machines and they buy goods and services and they save and invest money, money moves. Do you remember in 2008 when we bailed out the banks that were too big to fail? $800 billion was given them to put it out to infuse into the economy to move money. Did they? No. In the blink of an eye, they stole the equity from your assets, from your labor preserved in this, from your children's labor and some of your grandchildren's labor, and not one person has gone to jail. Now, the velocity and how fast that economy moves makes the U.S. economy the biggest economic engine on the planet, responsible for 25% of the world's gross domestic product. And the velocity at which we made is harnessed in a very specific way in our 12-week plan, which will take the frequency, volume, and velocity of moving money into savings, not spending, savings like they did 2 generations ago, which will determine the frequency, volume, and velocity of the commissions that are paid. It's a brilliant plan. The third slide, and probably the most important, is that in today's world, you must move money toward you. You must. Why is it that 95% of the population have only 5% of the wealth? Do you remember what program update number 2 was? You cannot outwork an exponential inflation with a linear income. The 95% are an employee, Or they're self-employed. When they work, they eat. When they don't work, they don't eat. And when they can't work and can't eat, where do they go to get help? They go to the government. Where's the government get the money? They tax or fee you. Have seen any new fees? Or they print it out of thin air, backed by nothing, until no one wants your debt anymore. Then what? And so what the media has programmed their brains, this is it. They program their brains when they get money in their hands to move it away from them and spend it on doodads that make them look good and feel good. We all have done it. The programming is pervasive, and when you leave this webcast and you go out there in the real world, you will know, you'll look around at the trappings. And I'm here to tell you that I have a unique perspective as an ex-repo man. That what you see out there, you would not be so impressed if you had to own it outright before you possessed it. Now, why is it the 5% of the population have 95% of the wealth? One word, system. Save yourself some time, effort, and money. System. Business owners use a system, like a franchise model. Seen any franchises? Drive down the street, they're all over. Why do they work? Because they're a system. It isn't by chance. So business owners use a system, and they hire employees that have a linear income to create residual income, time, and freedom. Investors use money and a system to create residual income, time, and freedom. Our 12-week plan takes you over here and can move you into the business owner and investor quadrant quickly if you give it your A-game effort, just like you have done any time you have excelled or achieved anything. Now, the basis of our program is simple. You're paid to pay yourself first. You have to pay yourself before you pay your bills. Then you'll always have something. Okay? So how do you save money? You make sure it isn't made out of paper. Do you know, as a repo man, I repossessed people that were broke at $2,000, $80,000 a month. How can you be broke at $1 million a year? It's easy when you spend more than you keep. So we're going to get paid to take this, turn it into this, and put it in your gold money piggy bank. It's very simple, and you can't get hurt. I haven't seen anybody that was sorry that they had gold on their shelf. It looks good on any financial statement. You don't eat it, drink it, wear it, smoke it. You don't clean with it. You don't pass it through your kidneys. Okay? And they don't make any they don't make any better quality. It can't get bested like a product or a tool. They're not making anything better than this element in its state. That's why it is currency grade gold, and that is why it is used and recognized by all banks and governments as good for settlement of debt. Now, I'm a common sense knucklehead. If anybody wants to question the validity of our company, I'm sure that they will be more than happy to see that we have our own branded MasterCard. Okay, you know what it takes? That's common sense. Only legitimate companies get those. Do you know what it takes to even get one of those? Go find out. So I use a little common sense more than all of the other factors. Now, in what you're seeing here is a self-contained system. The correct way to move money. I can take this MasterCard and go into America and get dollars. I can go into Mexico and get pesos. I can go to Italy and get lira. I can go into Japan and get yen. It's a self-contained. This is the correct way to move paper money. This is the way to move cash money. Okay, in the times we live in today. And this is the correct way to save money. This is physical gold metal. It doesn't rot. It doesn't rust. It's always equal to the labor it takes to extract it. It preserves your buying power. Unlike this, it doesn't do it anymore. And this is all leading to a global payment system that when the uniform money, and there's enough of it in people's hands, natural human nature will say, what can I do with it? And we will have created an honest money structure that anything that can be bought in paper money could be bought in fractions of a gram of gold money if the gold money was the same here as it was if this card was in Australia or South Africa or Venezuela or Mexico or Canada, anywhere. And that's why the features on this make it unique. Here's the system. This is what we want you to do. Number one, get back with the person that brought you here. Enroll and create a free Karatbars account. It really is free. No cost to enroll, no maintenance fees. Self-managed protected website, no website fees. There's no obligations other than the fact that you have to sign on it, and there's no logical reason not to enroll one. Do you have a toolbox at home? Do you have one tool in it? When you want the tool, do you want to have to go find it, or do you want to know where it is? Get this tool in place. And you know, similarly, you know what it's like? It's like me handing you a deed to a piece of property. Here, all you have to do is sign for it. There's no taxes. There's no encumbrances. Just would you take a deed to a piece of property, even if you didn't know what the address was, if they gave it to you? The second part, you immediately acquire a package. Now, with the pillars of truth about all economies, you are positioning yourself in Harold's global infrastructure with a system. And at this time, you are moving money. Choose a package immediately. It matters not which one you choose as much as it does matter that you choose one of them immediately and open the key to the vault. I love this part because you get to choose your paycheck. In this system, they tell you how much they're going to pay you till they replace you. In our system, you get to choose. You can start at an entry level like a digital bronze, or you can jump right to CEO pay, which is called a VIP, which everybody at some point will either start there or upgrade to there. And you get to choose your paycheck, not anybody else. And when you want to give yourself a raise, you can. Choose a better package. Now, the third part of this spot here is that you're going to take $65 of paper money, turn it into gold money, and you're going to put it in your gold money piggy bank. You still have the money. Follow me? Now you're going to do this. This is what you're going to do. You're going to move money with velocity. We get paid every week. When you make a transaction every single week, you drive volume in the system so that your incomes expand. And so we want you to buy 1 gram a week for 12 weeks. After 12 weeks, I couldn't care less what you do. The system would have already been in place. Now, do you need anybody else's permission to enroll a free account? Can you do that on your own? Correct? Do you need anybody else's permission to buy your own package? You can do that on your own, correct? Do you need anybody else's permission to take $65 of paper money, which isn't going to get more valuable if you hold on to it, and turn it into gold money, which will preserve it? You don't need anybody else's permission. That is what I call the brick, and that brick is going to be duplicated. You're not going to be the best gold salesman. That's not what we're asking you to do. If you can do those 3 parts right there, you become the brick, and then guess what? We're going to communicate properly. Do you think there are people out there somewhere that might want to take a look at a legitimate business plan to produce $4,500 a week in passive income in 12 weeks? Do you think there's anybody out there that might want to take a look at that? And they become the brick, and find 2 people that would become the brick. And then we're going to multiply the return back to us beyond our own time and effort, regardless of whether you're asleep. In 112 countries right now, actually 113, we just added a new one. And you harness all the 4 pillars of truth. That's why our time has come. Now, see, positioning yourself in the way of the moving money is simple. You already do it in the regular world like this. That's why people become doctors instead of, LPNs or LVAs, whichever it is. People have different incomes. The guy who's a surgeon, he spent, I know, at least 8 years and probably $200,000 to get a piece of paper and learn. Then he did residency. And guess what happens if he has carpal tunnel, gets in a car accident, gets sick? You only never get paid for what you know. You only get paid for what you do with what you know. When I broke my neck in 1992, I realized that fact. And that's why I coined that phrase. And now, that's where you're at, positioning yourself in a linear income. And we know what happens with that. Now, here's what we show you, exponential positioning in a global infrastructure that you don't have to pay for. In the largest market transfer ever in world history, as fiat paper money, has to move to gold, silver, and oil-backed money because this money here is not backed by anything but a promise, and promises get broken. So if you're an entrepreneur looking at this and you want to capture the market, here's the size of your market. Karatbars or gold is money. And if Karatbars gets 1/3 of just 1% of that entire transfer, it will be bigger than all the markets of health, wellness, weight loss, nutrition, water, food, juice, coffee, energy drinks, shopping portals, gifting programs, cars, shoes, clothes, advertising, and travel, all done combined. You want a hunk of that? Here it is. And you don't have to pay for the infrastructure. Get involved, get started, put your car in the front of the movement, not at the end, and watch what happens. Let me show you how the money works. Let's just take, for example, let me take a simple way. The majority of people in the world are in an emerging market. So I show the least common denominator where the average family doesn't make more than 500 euros a month worldwide. So let's just take the least common denominator, because when you can break it down to the least common denominator and you put it forward, millions will participate overall. So let's just say you got back with the person who brought you here, you enrolled a free account, you took a digital bronze package, you uploaded some documents to prove and secure, you establish your identity to your private account like you would any other legitimate company. And then you bought your first gram. And in week 1, you sent people to these webcasts, or you played videos from them. Any way you did it, you got the plan in front of their eyeballs, ears, and so they could read it, okay? All together. And that's why we do webcasts every day at 12 noon Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern. So you can drive traffic to it in some way. You don't have to know it. You just have to know where to find it. So one, you found 2 people that did exactly what you did, and you made $13. Week number 2, what'd you do? You didn't find any more. Let's show this example. Took $65 of paper money, turned it into gold money, put it in your gold money piggy bank. You didn't make anything. Week number, $65 of paper money, turned it into gold money, put it in your gold money piggy bank. You made nothing. Week number 4, you took $65 of paper money, turned it into gold money, put it in your gold money piggy bank. You made $26. Week number 5, you took $65 of paper money, you turned it into gold money, put it in your gold money piggy bank. You made $39. Week number 6, halfway through your 12-gram commitment, you took $65 of paper money, turned it into gold money, put it in your gold money piggy bank, but now you made $65. And so it is a totally logical questions that you will be asked by people who make a linear income, which is 95% of the population. Well, how much does your gold cost, Dan? Great question. Well, if you make at least as much money as it takes you to acquire your own gold, how much does your gold cost you? 0. Can you buy it cheaper anywhere else? No. This system was made for the thriftiest of gold acquisition enthusiasts, where they understand the value of a system in place that helps you acquire gold far more than you will ever buy out of your own pocket, no matter who tries to sell you gold at whatever kind of price that isn't even currency-grade gold. They will never pay you a residual income or show you how to get gold for free, no matter how many people you refer and no matter how much gold you buy from them. You'll also be asked like this, well, Dan, that's like money from a job. Well, you know what? You're right. Week 1. But what'd you do week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? You didn't. You did it before. Now you're getting paid for what you did before. Unlike this system, the guy who asked you that with a linear income goes to work on Monday, gets paid on Friday, goes to work on Monday, gets paid on Friday, goes to work on Monday, gets paid on Friday. If he doesn't go to work on Monday, how much is he making? How much is he making? How much? Nothing. That's been the return on the investment of your time doing those kinds of tasks. And that, you know what it is? They turn you into a battery. You're a battery for their system to perpetuate that debt. We're going to enlighten the economic minds here very quickly. So guess what? If the task you perform in your job right now, if there's anybody, is anybody here on this webcast been doing that industry, whatever kind of industry they're in, been working in the industry for 10 years? Anybody here? If the tasks you had in that industry were ever going to make you financially independent, don't you think you would have done it within 10 years? This system was built for the enlightened economic minds. Now, understand, I made my point there. Now you still have 6 more grams to buy. So let's get through this. Week number 7, you can take your personal finances. You can put them away. However you make money, you have removed that from the process. You get to keep all that money and do whatever you want to do with it. Now, week number 7, you took your system MasterCard and you took $65, turned it into gold money, put it in your gold money piggy bank, made $143. That was more money than you took for you to participate in the program, where everybody was just a digital bronze. Everybody only found 2 in their first week, never found any more, and everybody only bought 1 gram a week for 12 weeks, never bought any more after that. Week number 8, took $65 of paper money, $65 off your system MasterCard, turned it into gold money, put it in gold money piggy bank, made $286, which is more money than it took you to buy all the rest of the gold, which means all that gold was free from the process that you did in the task that you did by duplicating the brick and showing how to be people to be the brick, not the best gold salesman. My family already knows I'm not the gold guy, and your friends do too. But how many people in the times we live in today might want to take a look at a legitimate business plan to produce $4,500 a week in passive income and simultaneously set up a system to help them acquire far more gold than they will ever buy out of their own pocket? In the times we live in today, that's the programming that engages people. Week number 9, you took $65 off your system MasterCard, turned it into gold money, put in your gold money piggy bank, you made $546. Week number 10, $65 off your system MasterCard, turned it into gold money, put in your gold money piggy bank, you made $1,131. That's $54,000 a year from that point on. You're making $54 grand doing what you're doing right now, but your boss give you a $54,000 a year raise. What are you doing? Saving money. You already made the money. Now you're going to save it correctly in the times we're in. Week number 11, $65 off your MasterCard, turned it into gold money, put it in gold money piggy bank, you made $2,220. That's $110,000 on top of what you're doing. You're making $110,000 a year doing what you're doing. What kind of tasks and what kind of time does it take you to do that? You want some time back? Buy it back with residual income. Week number 12, your 12th grand commitment. $65 off your system MasterCard, turned into gold money, put in your gold money piggy bank. You made $4,485. This has a logical relationship with the movement of goods and services, a logical relationship with every single economy and the creation of wealth worldwide. That's $223,000 a year from that point on. Let me ask you a question. You might not do it week 13, stop, or week 14. But if you saw that you were getting consistent and persistent about $4,500 a week coming in from the efforts that you did before, you going to work on Monday. Be honest. You going to work. Once you know and you get over that bridge of belief, are you going to work? You're going to get some of these 3% digit bonus cards that allow you to buy your gold at a 3% preferred price. Also, 100-euro discount cards allow you to give yourself a pay raise. That's your pay raise card right there. Now, do you have to start at this? No, I showed you the method and the tool on how internationally emerging markets can participate in this program and do it. And the reality is that if you focus on that, there's other facets that do this program, but I think globally. I'm a global thinker. I don't care what's happened in my local community. It is globally that I perceive this. And I have a clear and distinct understanding of where it is and where we're going. Now, you can start at silver. Let me tell you right now, silver package, this is where if you're here and you're in an established economy, you should no less start than a silver. $350 pays you 4 times more money than a bronze does, okay? And if you perpetuated a silver and found people who are silvers in the first week, you wouldn't even be coming out of pocket, okay? Pastor Larry Dye does a program on this. It's just a variation of the 12-week plan, and we want to thank Pastor Larry Dye, and we want to thank Miles Smith for the vision given to them from the master above on how this all works, okay? Now, in this case, by the 12th week, you're making $17,250 a week. If you were the only silver and everybody was just a bronze, is your boss making $17,250 a week? Show this to business-minded people and watch what happens. Okay? Gold package level pays you 6 times what a bronze does, $800 one time. It only takes you 4 weeks using your personal finances. Everybody else was just a bronze. Only found 2 people in the first week, never found anybody else. Only acquired 1 gram a week for 12 weeks and never acquired another gram. By the time you get down to the 12th week, that's $25,000 a week. It's $100,000 a month, folks. Let me ask you a question. Some of you got spouses that are chewing your ears off. You need an attitude change. You know, here's what you do. Put $100,000 in their checking account, you'll see an attitude change. They'll pat you on the back, say, I knew you could do it. VIP package level, top of the food chain. Everybody, all entrepreneurs are either going to start right here or they're going to upgrade to there, okay? Doesn't matter throughout the system. Everybody who's making money in this will upgrade to VIP because you'd be throwing away money if you didn't. Nobody on this webcast is that foolish. It's the most popular. It maxes out the comp plan. And you can use the pay raise card to take an extra 100 euros off. Folks, that's $33,000 a week. In the 12th week, if you were the only VIP and everybody else was a digital bronze and only found 2 people in the first week and only acquired 1 gram a week for 12 weeks, that's more money in a week than the average family in America makes in a year. Get the picture? Even if you failed miserably. Now wait, how about this? I just want to acquire gold. Your goal is you want to acquire gold. Which one will get you more gold? Trying to buy it out of your own pocket or leveraging 12-week plan and a Karatbars dual system and taking all those commissions that you see there and acquiring gold from it and having nothing to do with this. Watch. So pick your package and position yourself in our global exponential position network. Everybody needs to know about Karatbars. Look, it's a fine line. You're even seeing this. You need to thank the person that invited you here. They could have called anybody, but they chose to call you. And you were smart enough to show up. Let me tell you what a fine line it is you're even seeing this. If 10,000 new people saw Karatbars, 10,000 new people every day for 25 years straight, only 1% of the population would ever be given the opportunity to take a look. That's what you're looking at. And so if you genuinely take your eyes off of yourself and you extend your hand to be of help to somebody else in the times we see today with a lot of turmoil, believe me, as the ex-repo man, I know those turmoils. And you have a delusioned look at your neighbors who you think may be doing great, but when their head hits the pillow, you do not know if there's any financial turmoil there because all the trappings are mortgaged. They're not real. Take your eyes off yourself and give somebody a life jacket to take a look. That's when the beauty and the brilliant spark inside of you comes out. Okay? That's when it comes out. And anytime you come up with some reason not to ask somebody to take a look, you're only thinking about yourself. You're thinking about how it makes you feel, which is selfish. Take your eyes off yourself. You may be the only connection they ever hear about this. You know what the challenge with this will be? You're going to be misunderstood. Sometimes, not always, sometimes. And if you can live with that, you can fix 30 years of work in 12 weeks. And if you're young, you have money, time, and youth. What an awesome combination. Do what you want, when you want, and how you want, regardless of where you are. And if you're older and you've seen the changes in the last 2 generations, you will be able to secure your future. Regardless of whatever happens with the government, with the money, you will feel secure, protected in God's money. We have 1, 2.5, and 5 gram cards. That's a 2.5 gram card. We have a 5 gram card. We have the USA card. I'm a common sense knucklehead. I'm not Catholic, but this is a Pope card. The Vatican, which I'm sure has a far better business resource than I do, and probably you do, to find out if the company is reliable and whether the gold is exactly what it is, licensed for 100,000 of these. Okay? We've got all kinds of things. We have prepper cards. This is a private issue card. We have baby cards, folks. Why not teach our young? Part of your duty in this generation is to teach our young a new set of values that is established from 2 generations ago, the wisdom of our elders. They knew. And show them how they can start generational wealth accounts for their children, their grandchildren, or grandparents, even some great-grandparents. Parents, aunts, and uncles can deposit real gold into the child's future and reward them for good behavior and their achievements. So again, we can teach our young a pattern of saving. What you have here is far more than just making some money. It is a significant movement. Our time has come, and the value of the paper money has determined everything in how we perceive things, and you out there are waking up. And we have a pattern. This is not a guess. Make no mistake. Karatbars stands for everything sound, solid, and truthful about money, real money. We know exactly where we're going. This is not guess. This is not theory. The question is, do you want to come where we're going? Are you going to waste more time and paper money in the process, struggling and trying to put your thumb on why you're having a hard time and why you see a system with 47 people on food stamps, people with college educations that can't find jobs, bail-ins, bailouts, private pensions funds being seized and swapped out with government bonds printed out of thin air, bank foreclosures? You're going to see all kinds of chaos. And we have a universal solution to the worldwide debt, savings, and currency crisis, and in its essence is nothing more than taking a few, instead of putting all this money in your paper money bank, you take a few of these dollars and you put them in your gold money account from Karatbars. As the value of the paper money goes down because of bad decisions made by bankers, politicians, and governments, even with good intentions, the value of your gold account goes up. It balances out your losses. What if you don't have one of these? 2 jobs, 3 jobs, you're moving into a smaller place, you got 8 people living in the home. We have a solution. We want to thank you very much for your time and attention tonight, and do something good and significant with your life. Extend your hand and invite people to take a look. We want to thank you very much. This is Boomer signing out. We believe in you, and you deserve it. Unleash this brilliant spark in here and let the magic happen. Take care.